One more thing we missed in this human eye. See, there is an aqueous humor and a vitreous humor. As you can see that aqueous humor is a fluid which is present between the pupil or you can say cornea and the lens, and vitreous humor is a fluid which is present between the lens and the retina. Both the fluids just help the eye to perform its function properly. That means they help in the refraction, because here as you know that refraction is going to take place because the light that enters like this, as the light that enters, the rays, they are just going to converge. So it just helps, or you can say they act as a medium which allow the light rays to converge. So this is what is the human eye. Now we are going to start with the power of accommodation. We are going to start with the power of accommodation. Now what is accommodation? I will write a statement first, then we will discuss. Accommodation is ability of an eye to adjust its focal length of lens in order to obtain clear image on retina. So it is ability of an eye to adjust its focal length of lens. As I told you that when we want to see an object which is near to us, the focal length should be small, and if we need to see an object which is far, so focal length should be more. So it is the ability of eye to adjust the focal length of lens so that the image formed is clear, so that the clear image is formed on retina, which can be easily recognized by brain. This is what we want, because unlessly it is of no use that if the image is formed on the retina and we are not able to recognize that what is the image, or you can say image formed is much bright, or it is not an appropriate one. So that means it is of no use. So we want that the image which is formed on retina should be clear, should be inappropriate with brightness and colors as well, so that it can be easily distinguished by the brain. So this is what is the accommodation. But there has to be a certain phenomena that must be occurring in an eye. That is why we can see a nearby object clearly as well as we can see the far off object clearly. So this is what is the power of accommodation, and what is responsible. Obviously ciliary muscles are responsible because they are holding the lens, so they are going to adjust the focal length of lens as we have discussed prior also. So what happens, see, when you need to see a nearby object, if I say that you need to see a nearby object, that means the object which is near to you, then what happens, the ciliary muscles, for that ciliary muscles contract, and due to which the lens become short and white. Lens becomes short and white like this. They contract, they become tensed also. You can use the word tensed also for muscles. They become tensed, and due to which the lens becomes short and white like this. But if you wish to see a far off object, so in that case what happened to ciliary muscles? Ciliary muscles relax, they relax, and what happened to the lens? It becomes elongated and thin. It becomes elongated and thin. So like this, they become relaxed and lens becomes elongated and thin. Again, I am just going to explain you. See, if you want to see a nearby object, so that means your focal length should decrease. The lens focal length should decrease. How it decrease? Ciliary muscles contract, or you can say they become tense, due to which lens becomes short and white, and as a result the focal length decreases. And if you need to see a far off object, then the ciliary muscles relax, due to which lens become elongated and thin, and due to which the focal length increase. So if this, because this is happening in this way, that is why an appropriate image is formed on the retina, whether we are seeing a nearby object or whether we are seeing a far off object. And you know what is the near point of the eye? What is the near point of the eye if we discuss? Near point of eye is 25 centimeter. That means it is not like that you cannot see less to a distance less than 25 centimeter. We can see to a distance less than 25 centimeter, but there is no clear image in that case. Means we cannot decrease the focal length much beyond that. And if we talk about the far point, it is infinity. Far point is infinity. We can see as far as possible, right? So this is the near point and the far point. One more thing, persistence of vision. We have a term called persistence of vision. It is not in your syllabus, but still I want you to know what is persistence of vision. Suppose you see anything and you just close your eyes. Then what happened? The image which is kept in the object which is kept on you, its image is formed on the retina, right? So if you just remove the object, or if you just close your eyes, that image is going to last on the retina for a specific period of time, and that is called as persistence of vision, and that is 1/16th of second. That is 1/16th of second, means this much part of the second. So that persistence of vision means the image that is formed on the retina, lasts on the retina even if the object is removed or if you close your eyes for 1/16th of second. Do not get confused with the persistence of hearing. Persistence of hearing is 1/10th of the second. That means the sound which you hear lasts in your ear for 1/10th of the second. This is persistence of vision, that the image which is formed on retina lasts on the retina for 1/16th. It is 1/16, there it was 1/10th. 1/16th of a second. So this is what is the persistence of vision. Now we are going to start with the defects of eye. Now we will take up that what kind of defects we can see in a person related to eye. That we know that there are certain people who are not able to see nearby objects clearly, or who are not able to see far off objects clearly. So we are just going to discuss that what kind of defects we can see actually. See, the general, if we discuss the defects are myopia. What is myopia? I will discuss two defects together. They are actually related to each other. Another is hypermetropia. See, the other name for the myopia is short-sightedness. And hypermetropia is long-sightedness. Now what do we mean by these terms? These terms mean, short-sightedness means a person can see nearby clearly but can't see far off clearly. It's not like that the person cannot see, he is not able to see anything which is far off. It's not like that. He can see, but the image formed is not in proper image. So we say that a person can see nearby clearly but cannot see far off clearly. So we'll discuss myopia first, then we'll relate hypermetropia with myopia. So myopia is short-sightedness, means person can see nearby clearly but cannot see far off clearly. Even I am myopic, right? So if we talk about the accommodation problem, that there might be a accommodation problem, because that is why the person can't see far off clearly. So accommodation problem is that means he cannot see far off clearly. That means focal length do not increase properly, and the factor which is responsible for the focal length increase in the focal length is the relaxation of ciliary muscles. So that means they do not relax properly, due to which lens do not become properly thin and elongated. This might be a problem. This is an accommodation problem that a person is suffering, that the lens, you'll write this first point, ciliary muscles do not relax properly, due to which the lens do not become thin and elongated properly, and due to which the focal length does not increase properly. That is why a person cannot see the far off object clearly, because we know that to see a far off object the focal length must increase. Now there can be an eye defect also. Then what might be an eye defect? Eye defect means eyeball being too long or too elongated, means eyeball is much long. And second is converging power of lens is high. So in this kind of defect, or a person who is suffering from myopia, then what happened? The image is formed like this. Suppose this is lens. I am just drawing a rough figure. So this is retina. Suppose the rays which are entering, it has high converging power, so they converge in front of the retina. So we see that in this case, image is formed in front of the retina. We know that if the image will be formed on retina, then only we are able to distinguish that what we have seen actually. So in order to correct it, so this is the defective image. Now in order to correct it, what we should use, we need to decrease the converging power of lens, and for that we will be using a specs containing a concave lens, and this is the convex lens of the eye, and suppose this is the retina. So this is going to first, suppose the light enters like this, it is going to first diverge the rays, and then it is going to converge so that they can converge properly on the retina, and clear image is formed on the retina. So this is what is the myopia. I think you got it. Myopia is short-sightedness. Person can see nearby clearly but cannot see far off clearly. That means there might be a problem in accommodation. That means ciliary muscles do not relax properly, due to which lens do not become thin and elongated, and as a result focal length does not increase in a proper manner. Eye defect, eyeball being too elongated or converging power of lens being too high. So what kind of image? Image is formed in front of retina. In order to correct, we use concave lens in the specs so that it should increase the converging power, decrease the converging power, and proper conversion of rays occur, and the image is formed on retina. Now coming on to hypermetropia, it is just opposite to it. Hypermetropia is long-sightedness. That means person can see far off clearly but cannot see nearby properly. Now again there will be an accommodation problem. So what can be an accommodation problem? It means that ciliary muscles do not contract properly, due to which lens do not become thick and short in a proper manner, and as a result focal length does not decrease properly. So there might be an eye defect. So what is an eye defect? Eye defect can be that eyeball being too small. In this case the eyeball was too elongated. So here the eyeball being too small, and as a result converging power of lens is too low. So if a person is suffering from this kind of defect, then what kind of defective image is formed? Suppose this is ciliary muscles, this is the lens, this is the retina. So what happens in this case? When the rays enter, it converges the rays, but converging power is too low, so they get converged beyond retina, and we know that if the image is formed beyond the retina, we are not able to distinguish, because we want that the image must be formed on retina. So in order to correct it, so I will write here that image is formed behind of retina. So in order to correct it, we use spectacles, because we need to increase the converging power of lens. Therefore for correction we have to use the converging lens, and that is the convex lens. So this is the convex lens of the specs, this is the lens of our eye, and this is the retina. So it is just going to converge the rays first, and it is going to converge again, and as a result a proper image is formed on the retina. So this is what is the myopia and the hypermetropia. I think you got it, that what is the defect of myopia and the hypermetropia, they are just reverse to it. So you need to remember that when we are talking of short-sightedness, short means closer, so that means person can see nearby clearly but cannot see far off clearly. And keep in mind, it is not like that the person is not able to see far off. He can see, but the image formed is not so proper. Likewise in hypermetropia, it is long-sightedness. Person can see far off clearly but cannot see nearby clearly. Apart from it, we have many other defects also, like it's not in your syllabus, but still for your knowledge I am just discussing with you. We have a defect like colorblindness. There are, the one which is responsible to impart color, as we have already discussed, is the cone cells. So if in some case the cone cells become defective, so that means the color, there will be a color blindness. That means the image is not going to have a proper color. Like as you have seen that sometimes you must have somebody has told you, like if there is a bull who is sitting, suppose I say that there is a bull sitting on the road, and if you are wearing a red clothes, it is a myth actually, that the people often talk about, that if you are wearing red clothes and you are crossing the bull, that means you are chasing the bull. So that means there might be a chance that bull may run behind you, but it's not like that, because bull is actually color blind. The bull doesn't have a cone cell. So how the bull can recognize that whether you are wearing a red clothes or you are wearing a green clothes? Like whether you wear red, green, blue, you are going to appear black and white to a bull, because the bull doesn't have any cone cells. The bull is a color blind. And likewise, there is a color blindness which is seen in us also, and mostly it is red and green color blindness. That means person is unable to distinguish between red and green. We can have the other type of defective cone cells also, but maximum we have seen that it is red and green color blindness. And likewise, we can have a night blindness also. You must have seen night blindness. You must have seen many movies in which the person is not able to see. There is a movie, I just forgot the name of that movie, in which there is an actor, that is Kader Khan, who is not able to see after 6 or 7 p.m. So it's not like that after 7 p.m. everything appears to be black. It's not like that. They mean to convey you that like when the intensity of light is low, when the intensity of light is low, then the bright image is not formed, and that is all due to defective rod cells. That is all due to defective rod cells, because rod cells are the one which control the brightness of the image. So when there is 7 p.m., like by saying 7 p.m. they mean that there is darkness, as you know that sunset occur after that. So there is not appropriate light rays, and when there is no appropriate light rays, the image formed is comparatively dim. It's not like that he becomes blind. This cannot happen, that I start functioning in the morning and it stop functioning after 7. It's not like that. It's all about the night blindness. That means according to the intensity, the man is not able to make an image which is of much brightness, and the brain is not able to distinguish that or recognize that with what he has seen. So these are the defects: myopia, hypermetropia, night blindness we have discussed, even we have discussed color blindness. There is one more defect, cataract. There is one more defect, cataract. What happens in cataract? We call cataract in a common term as motia. So what happens in that case? In that, a hazy layer just surround the lens. Suppose this is the lens. In this, a hazy layer just surround the lens, so which interfere in the refraction. But it can be cured by a laser operation. It is a modern technique which an eye surgeon is using nowadays. So it can be corrected by a laser surgery. Moreover, there is one more defect which occurs due to gradual increase in age, that is presbyopia. That is presbyopia. So what is this defect? Presbyopia actually occurs with gradual increase in age. As we all know that when we are going to when there will be an increase in age of our age, so there is a chance, there is maximum probability that our eyes also become weak. We are not able to see nearby clearly, or we are not able to see far off clearly. This happens in many cases, that most of the old person, they put on spectacles because they are not able to see nearby also, and they are not able to make out the far off object clearly. So the reason behind that is not a specific diet deficiency or anything. The reason is that as we know that as we grow old, our all muscles of the body gets weakened, because as you can run, if you can say that a 10-year boy runs and there is a 70-year-old man runs, there is always a difference, because it is all the difference of the muscles, because when we grow old, our muscle gets weakened. So as we know that ciliary muscles are again muscles. So that means with gradual increase in age, these muscles also get weaker. So that means they are not able to contract or relax properly. So and if they won't be able to contract or relax properly, so that means they are not able to increase or decrease focal length. And there is a chance that you are not able to see nearby and far off clearly just because of age, just because of weakening of the ciliary muscles. So this is the defect called presbyopia. So in this case, what kind of spectacles, as you have seen that old person use the spectacles which are of very, you can say, of deformed type. So that spectacle is, they use bifocal lens in spectacles. They use bifocal lens in the spectacles. The spectacles is like that. On lower portion they have convex lens and the upper portion they have concave lens. In this we were having only one lenses, like a person who's suffering from myopia had only concave lens, and the person from hypermetropia was having convex lens. In presbyopia, as the person cannot see near and far because they are suffering myopia as well as hypermetropia, so they have the bifocal lens. Lower part is convex, upper is concave. We have lot more defects also, like astigmatism. Astigmatism is a defect, person cannot focus vertically and horizontally. That means if you like if I look on my friend, that I get to see an appropriate image, I can just make out its height also and I can see a proper width also. But in those cases they are able to see a person just stretched, or they are able to see a person who are just stretched in the vertical section. Like the laughing mirrors, as you see yourself in the laughing mirrors, it's just appear to be like that. That is astigmatism, but that also can be cured. In that we have spherical lenses superimposed on the cylindrical lenses. So we have lot more defects, they are not included in your syllabus, but for your sake only these defects, and you should have a general knowledge around this. So these are all defects of the human eye.